Let us all welcome our special guest, Mr. Raymond Lauchengco.
Hi everybody! Good morning! Hi Rose! Hello Marvin! Good morning sa lahat ng mga nanonood ng program na ito, including the mom of Direct Sharon na pauwi lang mula sa Arizona, si Mama Nelly. Hi Mama Nelly!
Wow! Naku, sobrang kinikilig na siguro si Mama Nelly. Talagang napuno na yung kanyang week of ano.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rose and Marvin. Ha? Salamat.
Oh, yeah. And really, thanks for making the time to spend with us. Kasi very interesting yung pag-uusapan natin. Pero syempre, alam mo naman, napansin ko to tayo, we always look back to yung younger years. Pero kaya ngiting-ngiti ako. Kasi parang naaalala ko nung 80s talaga mga naka-hairspray ako, ganyan, nadadagdagan yung height ko ng mga 4 inches. Yeah. Naka-shoulder pads, ganyan. Pero gusto ko, Raymond, let's start this with childhood money memory muna.
Well, naalala ko nung grade 1 ako. Nag-aaral ako noon sa Letran, sa Intramuros. And a bank decided to come to the campus, nagpadala sila ng mga empleyado nila, mga officers, and they spoke to the entire elementary section about the value of savings.
Oh, wow.
So, lahat kami nasa gym nakikinig. Of course, ako, 1 year old, first grader, medyo did not understand what was going on, but they said, next week babalik kami. If you like, pwede kayo mag-open ng account dito mismo sa eskwelahan ninyo. So it's very safe, very convenient. So I went home really excited, told my parents that, there were these people who wanted to make my money grow and I could make a deposit. So they gave me a little money. And nung next week, bumalik yung bank sa amin and nag-deposit ako. They gave me a receipt and a passbook. So tuwang-tuwa ako, meron na akong bank account. Okay,
wow.
I was only 7 or 8 years old.
7 years old, yeah.
I was so excited. I went to my drawer and I put the bank book doon sa loob ng drawer ko. And I closed the drawer and I said, I'm not gonna open you hanggang lumaki ka ng lumaki. Hindi ko na gets na kailangan mo pala mag-deposit to make the account grow. Hindi ko na gets yun. Na-miss ko yun sa lecture. So, suffice it to say that account was not very successful.
Naging stale account ba ito?
Naging stale. Akala ko yung buksan mo, di ba? You leave it there and it will grow. Parang halaman, di ba? Hindi pala.
Kailangan palang diligan.
Kailangan palang diligan.
You have to have the discipline and the perseverance and the dedication to keep on, setting aside.
Okay, but you started earning at a very young age, So can you narrate to us your early ano tawag ko doon? Showbiz, acting, singing career?
Yeah, actually, totoo yan. I've been working since I was 12 years old. Nag-start ako sa teatro sa Repertory Philippines. Kabatch ko sina Lea Salonga.
Lea Salonga.
Doon ako nag-umpisa. And then, nung 18 years old ako, na-discover ako ni Sharon Cuneta. So, napunta naman ako sa pelikula.
Is that right?
Yes, si Sharon ang nag-discover sa akin. Napunta ako sa pelikula sa Viva and sa recording through Vicor Music Corporation.
Music, yeah.
Yes.
And then now tell us the story naman about this, kumbaga, this milestone that happened to you in the pandemic. Because not just in front of the camera ka, di ba? You would also produce live shows. Is that correct?
I would direct.
Direct live shows.
I started directing in 2004.
Okay.
For television, for events. I've also made a film. And siguro yun ang naging buhay ko. Half of my life was spent singing. And the other half was spent directing mostly mga corporate events.
Corporate events. Okay. And then, pandemic happened. Lockdown happened.
Actually, nag-umpisa yan for me 2 weeks before the pandemic. Okay, nag-umpisa yan. My younger sister, she got very sick and she was rushed to the hospital and she was in intensive care for a
Oh,
few
wow.
days. Hindi nila masabi kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanya, no? And then after that, my father passed away. Again, 2 weeks before the pandemic. And then my wife got very, very sick. Hindi namin alam kung COVID or if it was something else. Kasi during those days, wala pa namang testing eh. So
Mm.
it was a very, very difficult 2 weeks. Siguro dun nag-umpisang pumuti yung buhok ko. And then, as if that wasn't enough, on March
Nakatatlo na yan,
15,
ah.
on March
Oh,
15 or March 16, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ayun na, inanunsyo na ito na,
lockdown.
we are on lockdown.
Yes.
So, imagine that. My sister was hospitalized, my wife was very, very sick, my father died. And then to make matters worse, I discovered that I was jobless.
Yeah.
I lost all the work that I had lined up.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, I've been working since I was 12 years old. So I don't know what it's like not to work.
Yeah.
And sobra yung stress, sobra yung tension, no? At that time, I really felt like I was going to, para akong sasabog.
Yeah.
Di ba? Inisip ko yung, paano ko babayaran yung mga bills? How am I going to
Yes.
take care of my family? You know, will I ever sing again? Who am
Yeah.
I if I cannot sing? Because I'm a singer. If you
Oh,
cannot direct,
yeah.
does that mean I'm still a director? So, all of these questions happening in my life. And then at that point where I could not handle anything anymore, parang I just heard a voice in my head saying, "Go outside, make something with your hands."
Wow.
So I was like, "Okay, I'll go outside and I'll make something." I didn't have much tools. Ang meron lang siguro ako was martilyo,
Mm.
dalawang chisel o ano ba yun?
Paet.
Paet,
Oo.
dalawang paet, lagare, at
Mm.
saka drill. And then all I had to work with was, kasi I live in a village na maraming mga puno eh. So may mga cuttings, may mga troso, branches. So I would take that and I would start, working. At first, I noticed na kapag pinagod mo yung sarili mo, you have no time to worry.
Oh.
So that helped me. I worked all day, every day, to the point that I had no more energy to worry. When I finished the first thing that I made, I realized when I was holding it in my hands, I felt such a sense of peace and
Oh,
such
wow.
a sense of fulfillment that with nothing more than a few tools and my hands, I was able to create something. And that gave me so much joy. And so I continued and I continued and I continued. And kasi photographer din ako eh. So
Mm-mm.
pinipicturean ko yung mga works. Pinipicturean ko din yung proseso. And at that time, kasi nga we were on lockdown, everybody was on social media.
That's
So
right.
pinopost ko siya.
Yes.
And people started to feel encouraged, and they would commend me.
Mhm.
And I just felt inspired because I felt that other people were getting inspired. And so I pressed on. By the time I posted the fourth piece that I had made, eto na, people were already saying, kailangan mag-exhibit ka, mag-exhibit. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this for any other purpose other than to survive.
Yeah.
Okay, I just don't want to fall in depression. Kasi
Yeah.
kilala ko yung sarili ko eh. If
Yeah.
I don't keep myself busy, kasi isipin mo, everything na nangyayari around you, di ba? Parang the world is broken, everything is broken.
Yeah.
Your only choices are, you stay in bed and you feel sorry for yourself, or you go outside and you choose to focus on what remains that is still beautiful. And I found that in working with my hands.
Wow.
Galing. And the article I read about you, you also spoke about one of my favorite philosophies that we take from the Japanese. It's called Ikigai. Ako,
Ikigai,
Raymond,
yeah.
I always would talk about this. It is the intersection of that which we are good at, that which we love, that which the world needs from us, and that which we can get paid for. So
Yes.
so tell us naman about your experience with Ikigai.
All my life, parang I was cast as a singer, as an actor,
Mm.
because I was okay at doing these things. But parang deep inside me, there was something something else that I wanted to do. I just didn't know what it
No.
was. I know that I always enjoyed working with my hands. Yun nga lang, wala akong time, wala akong oras.
Oo.
Now, because of the pandemic, true, everybody lost a lot of things during the pandemic, but I think everybody gained a lot. And one of the things we gained was the gift of time. Okay?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, I had all the time in the world to do what I wanted to work with my hands. And that's when I felt that I discovered my Ikigai. Ano ba yung Ikigai? Sa akin, Ikigai is, meron ding Western concept yan eh. Western
Mm.
counterpart. What is your reason for living?
Or
Okay?
be,
The Japanese are more specific. Ano yung dahilan kung bakit ka nagigising sa umaga na excited, bumangon at harapin ang bagong araw because you have something exciting to do. For me, that was making things. In fact, I would wake up, 2:30 ng umaga.
Oh my God, talaga? Excited?
Meron akong napaginipan na bagong disenyo o bagong konsepto. And I would go outside and I would draw it kasi I was scared that I would forget if I went back to
Oo.
sleep. And gising na ako, so I'd make myself coffee. I'd wait for the sun to rise.
Wow.
Para, ayun na, I can start working na. So that for me is how I think I found my Ikigai. I was passionate about singing. I enjoyed acting, pero iba yung working with my hands. I think there's something very spiritual about working with your hands. I say this because naniniwala ako that we are all created in the image of God.
Yeah.
Okay? And because we are created in His image, I think we also share His attributes. Diba? Yung kanyang creativity,
Yes.
yung kanyang proseso ng the way things are done, how we are all capable of love. Let's just talk about creativity. God is a creative God. He made us. Therefore, we can also be creative to a certain extent. And I think when we practice and when we use that attribute that God gave us, I think it kind of connects us in a deeper way to Him. So for me, there's something very, very spiritual about working with your hands that I cannot find when I do other things.
Siguro because it's very obvious, it's tangible, di ba, no?
Hawakan mo eh.
Humans, we really
exert
need...
effort,
Oo.
struggle.
Tapos kitang-kita mo yung transformation from just
Yeah.
a stump siguro, tapos
Yeah.
nagawa mo into something. Show some of those art pieces that you've created. And then feel free to say something about it kung ano yung, what's the story behind the pieces that we will be showing.
Okay.
Let's start with the first one. Okay, so ito yung sinabi mo that in your village, you have a lot of trees. So, nakuha mo to sa village nyo? Itong
Yes, I remember papunta kami sa grocery noon. Para lumabas ka noon, kailangan mo pa ng quarantine pass eh.
Correct.
So I was driving out to the grocery and I saw a pile of wood sa tabi ng road. And I saw these beautiful pieces of stumps that I took with me. Pinuno ko talaga yung trunk. And I brought them home. At that time, hindi ko pa alam kung anong gagawin ko sa kanya, but I just found it so beautiful. And in this picture, you can see me cleaning it up. Kasi syempre, wood yan na tinabi yan for I don't know how long. So kailangan linisin, kailangan i-treat para ma-preserve. It needs insecticide, fungicide, and all of that.
Ay, ganun
So
pala.
this is me cleaning it up. And yeah, ito yung final product.
Wow!
Yeah, I taped it and I was able to make it stand and then treated na siya. And then it inspired me to create a sculpture that would go inside it.
Galing. That's a mother and child, no?
That's a mother and child,
Made
yes.
of ano yan? What's it made
Ano yung
of?
bakal?
It's made out of resin.
Resin.
It is finished in gold leaf.
Gold leaf. So
Akala ko-
inaano mo siya? Parang
Akala ko
kino-cover
it
mo?
looks like metal.
Oo, akala ko nga eh. So it's resin and covered
Yeah.
with... Is there a name?
Yung pagka-metallic niya,
Mm-mm.
Is because of the gold leaf. Yan
The
talaga
gold
ang
leaf.
effect ng gold leaf. Yes, this piece was commissioned by a lady who waited to have her child for 12 years. 12 years siya nag-try to have a child, and it finally came true after waiting for 12
Wow.
years. So I
Wow.
call this piece Always. And I wrote a little story about it. The mom knew that she was always going to come. It was just a matter of time.
My gosh.
Galing.
Ang ganda. Parang naaano na yung puso ko, naaantig. Okay, let's show another one. Oh, this
ito.
one is very interesting. Tell us about this, Raymond.
This was one of the first things that I made. At that time kasi, sarado lahat ng mga tindahan. Hindi ka makabili ng materials, hindi ka kahit na sandpaper, hindi ako makabili. So ito, meron akong concrete rubble na iwan after I renovated my house. So
Okay.
yun yung ginawa kong base. And then the branch is actually a branch of eucalyptus na hinati ko sa gitna para mabuksan at malagyan ng wiring. Tapos, linagyan ko siya ng bombilya.
It's a bulb.
It's a bulb.
Yes, it's a bulb.
You can
So
turn
ito yung first na ginawa kong functional art.
Galing.
May kuryente, gumagamit ng kuryente.
Oh my gosh. So, is there any name to this bulb?
I call this Edison. Parang na-imagine ko na it would be something in the lab of, Edison.
And
in the early days of electricity.
Oh, and considering that you made use of what was there, dahil hindi ka maka-hardware.
Yeah.
Edison, very
Ganda.
beautiful. So this is already sold also, or did you keep this?
This one I kept.
Okay, this one, it looks like
Parang table.
table ba
This is a
yan?
coffee table that I made. Actually, there's a clear, if you go to the next picture, that's
Ayun!
I
Ang
think
ganda!
I think that's
That's
a
a
better
top
view.
view. That's a
That's a
top
top
view. Ang
Ang
ganda!
challenge kasi, Rose, sa mesa, kung yung ibabaw ay hindi
Stable.
parallel sa ground,
Parallel. Yeah.
hindi siya mesa, di ba?
Magsa-slide yung mga gamit.
Hindi siya mesa, ano na siya, slide. So the challenge is, how do you make the glass perfectly straight?
Okay.
Wala naman akong laser-guided tools. Wala naman akong electric cutters. Ang meron lang ako is lagare. So talagang I really wanted to challenge myself in being able to do that. So I did it.
Galing.
Nice.
And he calls it Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes.
Kasi
I call it
parang
Twin Lakes because of the glass. It reminds me of two bodies of water.
I wanted to ask Raymond, where do you get your inspiration? Like, gigising ka lang ba na umaga, tapos, naisip mo, gumawa ka ng Twin Lakes?
Sometimes I think about it in my sleep. Sometimes I just have to look around. I think inspiration is everywhere. It exists everywhere. I think you just have to learn how to look and how to find it. Kasi para siyang hangin. It's everywhere.
Yeah. And with everything that's happening around us, di ba, with everything happening around us, there's a lot of noise. Yung ba yung parang when you keep yourself quiet, and that's where it comes.
That's another thing na nangyari during the pandemic. Tama yan, Marvin. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distractions in our lives. Pero nung nagka-pandemic, I mean, everything was so quiet. I would see a piece of wood and the piece of wood will parang sasabihin niya sa akin, "Huy, gawin mo akong ganito." O gawin mo akong ganyan. Really. I mean, you see a rock and it's many times the rock will tell you what it wants to be. All you have to do is listen, really.
That's true. Kasi if I also would make it parallel to writing, you just have to sit down and start writing. And when you do, the piece takes a life of its own. Akala ko noon when I used to hear that, parang OA, but it actually happens. So you have already a thought in mind, but then when you start the action, the act of writing, the act of doing your art, siguro, it will take a life of its own. Is that what you also experienced?
Actually, nahihiya akong sabihin yun kasi, people might think I'm crazy or something. Baka sabihin nila, loko-loko ako. But it's true. It's true. If you look at something, I mean, yung talagang look, hindi lang yung nakikita mo, pero yung parang you connect with something, it will totoo yun, Rose. It will tell you what it wants to become. All you have to do is listen. There's this one piece. Somebody gave me a forked branch. Yung forked branch, parang isang sanga na naging dalawa.
Okay.
And the person who gave it to me is a very good friend. Nung binigay niya sa akin, medyo sunog na yung part na ganito. Medyo bugbog yung part na ganyan, because it was exposed under the rain, under the sun. Tapos nung nakita ko siya, parang ang gusto niyang mangyari is, gusto niya maging sculpture. So nung nakita ko yung kahoy na yun, parang gusto niya maging triton. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Napaka-ambisyoso mo naman. Sunog ka dito, bugbog ka dyan. Gusto mo magkaroon ng shell dito, gusto mo magkaroon ng kaliskis dyan. Paano mangyayari yan? And I tried to resist. But I looked at it and I was like, there must be some reason why this brave piece of wood survived. Somebody put it in the fire, ayaw pa niyang masunog.
Creating something out of an inspiration or something like different, no?
It's a suggestion.
I'd like to share also, no, sa field of investing. No?
Oh, yeah. Sige, go.
Kasi yan sinasabi mga Raymond, no? When you find something, para bang it tries to speak to you, but you have to listen and then quiet down and to come up with your art. So sa investing, just to share with you, no, in a lot of noise. in the news, etc., in the world. So as a fund manager, you just have to quiet down and try to listen to what you need to do or what comes out of the funds that you manage, the portfolio that you have. That is where the art comes out. Yun ang na-experience ko since managing funds. So yun talaga ang, I think, the art of investing.
That is your art, honey. That's your art.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, pakita natin yung picture. Ayun na yata.
Ito na ba?
Yeah, that's the one.
Triton.
That's the one.
What is that? A table or no? It's not.
No, it's something that you can put on top of a coffee table, or perhaps a console.
And it's covered by what? Is it like painted or?
Oh,
No, that is glass.
Ay!
You
Oh,
covered
nice.
Glass shards. Kumuha ako ng mga bote, tapos pinukpok ko, and then I polished it para hindi sharp yung mga edges. Tapos ginawa ko siyang parang mosaic. So if you see one of the extensions, parang it has the form of ano ba tawag dyan? Parang fins. The other one, I tried to suggest na it would look like some kind of shell, parang malaking tawag dyan, calypso shell or something.
Okay, I understand.
Ang ganda.
So I had to, ayun, paetanggal ko dyan.
Yeah.
So aside from this, you are also into the Japanese art of Kintsugi.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about that?
Kasi nag-start nga ako nung pandemic working with what I had, and then it led to the first exhibit, which led to the second exhibit. Yung first exhibit kasi parang whatever I could find, I'd turn into something else. The second exhibit, ito na yung mga mesa na ginawa ko, si Triton. They became bigger pieces. For the next thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to try Kintsugi because I felt it was the right time for people to see something like that. Kasi nga, because of all the brokenness that was around us.
Yes.
Yung Kintsugi kasi, this is a 500-year-old Japanese art. Sa atin kasi, sa kultura natin, kapag meron tayong isang bagay na, let's say, ceramic na nasira, ano yung ginagawa natin?
Tatapon.
Diba normally, itatapon lang natin. Okay? Sa mga Japanese, they have a beautiful sense of respect for continuity. And they are able to transcend, they don't equate perfection. They don't equate value with perfection.
Yes.
Sa atin kasi, inisip natin, ay, sira na yan, wala na yung halaga.
Yeah.
But for me, perfection kasi is overrated. Kasi, tignan mo ang mga tao, perfect ba tayo mga tao? Di ba? Pag nagkakasakit tayo, itatapon na lang ba tayo? I mean, there's a way. I think material inanimate objects are like that also. There is a way of bringing out a different kind of beauty in them. Kahit na hindi sila perfect, nadadagdagan ang character.
Yeah.
For me, mas interesting ang bagay na may character. Kasi
Oo.
pag may character ang isang bagay,
May
meron siyang
storya.
kwento. May
Yes.
storya, may kwento. Parang
Right.
sinasabi niya, uy, tignan mo ako. Once upon a time, hinarap ko ang kahirapan o adversity, pero nandito pa rin ako.
Yeah.
So that for me gives an object a new kind of value.
Oo.
That's why I felt so, that's why nag-resonate sa akin yung Kintsugi. Ang Kintsugi, matagal ko na yan narinig. Many years ago. Pero hindi siya nag-resonate sa akin hanggang 2020. Kasi nga,
Because of
lahat
what happened.
tumigil.
Lahat tayo na
Daming
Kintsugi.
namatay. Everything was broken. So I
Yeah.
felt I had to reset my mind
Yeah.
to be able to see what remained that was still beautiful, and to perhaps even shift to being able to see beauty in brokenness.
I love that. Yeah. Do you get more satisfaction now in sculpting than when you were singing and acting? And then why sculpting and not other forms of creativity?
I don't really consider myself much. I don't really consider myself an actor. I think I can act, pero ako my real love is singing. And then I got very busy before the pandemic doing a lot of directing jobs. But now that na-discover ko yung paglikha ng art, I realize now if you give me the choice, I want to spend half my time singing and the other half creating art. Yung mga ibang bagay, siguro I won't give it too much priority anymore. Kasi ito talaga yung ikigai ko eh.
Oh, yeah, tama. And life is short. Kailangan pamili talaga tayo.
Hindi ko napipilitin yung mga iba.
Okay, so this is now the farewell part. And of course,
balita ko, kakanta si Martin ng a few paragraphs from my song Farewell.
So syempre, hindi natin to papakawalan, the opportunity. Baka naman pwede, Raymond, just a few lines from the song. Alam mo nga, sabi ko nga sa'yo kung magkasama lang tayo, talagang kakapala ko yung mukha ko at makikiduet ako. Ginagawa ko yan nakipag-duet na ako kay Tony Lambino, Jim Paets.
Marvin, last chance mo na, ha?
Yes. Go.
You sure? Ayaw mo?
Ikaw, baka dito mananalo ka na.
1, 2, 3.
Go.
Farewell to you, my friend. We'll see each other again. Ano next? Don't worry,
it's not the end of everything. I may be miles away, but this is where my heart will stay with you, my friends, with you.
Yeah!
Pwede ba? Gusto ko pa. May 5 minutes pa.
Parang mataas masyado yung key.
Oo nga,
Inumpisa ni Marvin na mataas eh.
Okay. Do it your way. Yung pitch mo talaga.
Another one.
Pitch ko talaga. Used to be frightened and scared to try things we don't really understand why. We laughed for a moment and started to cry. We were crazy. Farewell to you, my friends. We'll see each other again. Don't cry, 'cause it's not the end of everything. So it's you I've been waiting for so long. So it's you. Where were you all along? Naging medley tuloy. Those special moments, these will always be with me. We are here, you and I. We belong. Yan, ubos na ang 5 minutes.
Wow. Maraming salamat. It's such a treat. Uy, Raymond, one of these days, we're gonna get our RLPs.
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
Yeah, for sure. Diba, honey?
It's a good investment.
Yeah, it is a good investment. It has a low correlation with stocks and bonds.
Yeah.
So it gives you diversification.
Yeah.
Rose, I'm gonna read the books that you sent me. Thank you very much.
Yes,
because
please.
I really should know more about the things that I should know more about your expertise, kayong dalawa ni
Yeah,
Marvin.
yeah,
Thank you very
yeah.
much for the book.
Oh, and I'd love to know what your FQ score is.
May ano ba yan? May ano ba yan? May quiz?
May FQ
Yeah.
tests yan. You can take it both online or dun sa old school, sa libro mismo, the print one.
I hope I do better than my first attempt at a bank account when I was a grade 1.
Yeah, no more stale bank account for us.
Yeah.
Okay, maraming salamat po. This has been Rose Press Fausto, your FQ mom, with Marvin and Raymond, wishing you all a high FQ. Bye!